Magic. Magic is like PR's sibling. You can't live without it. But what is magic? What is technology? These get blurred in so many areas. They even combine the two fields in like half the seasons. Mr. Fantastic would go insane if he ever went to this universe. The next problem is, what makes another magician better than the other? Is it just what they can do or how they do it? Some monsters may not be the strongest, but can use magic over vast distances, influencing almost anything. I see that as more impressive over just final boss, super menacing trope. I consider some magic powers more powerful than some others, like being able to create things from any object, rather than just a humanoid. Thanks goes to Cyril Moore for the suggestion. If you have an idea or topic you'd like me to cover, leave a comment below. I might use it in a future video. Finster. If you said Finster wasn't magical, most would agree. He's a monster that makes monsters from clay and bakes them in an oven. But to do that, you've got to be magical. It's the blending of technology and sorcery that muddies where the one ends and begins. I think he's very powerful with what he does. He creates monsters day in and day out. Some never make it to fight the Rangers. They're just there to amuse him. I guess that's the only time he can feel like the boss. But he's also helped reconstruct Rita's face. Rita's not gonna just trust anyone with her face. Squat can use magic. You think she's gonna trust him? Finster can mold clay. He can probably mold anything, bring anything to life. That's extremely powerful. How would you deal with Finster once you caught him? Finster was probably the most loyal subject Rita had. He's always been there, while Goldar and the others left or turned away once someone else took power. He's not as powerful as Rita, but I can see him fill in for her if ever needed. Mora. The only magic the season really has, which was a big change. Even the Zords were just robots. The monsters never actually grew in normal cases. Mora's special, not just because she was created for SPD, but she's kind of messed up. She is an adult but wanted to be a kid, so Grum gave her that ability again. She became his lackey, creating monster after monster from a magic book. But not only that, she's evil to the core, influencing Sam, trying to bring him over with that creepy doll in Bugglesworth. Even when she got forced back to an adult, becoming that deranged fighter. I'm surprised Grum even turned her into the kid. She's honestly more useful as the fighter. Then again, maybe there's a trade-off, because we don't see her use magic much in that form, so maybe her species ages out of magic. That would answer why she'd want to be a kid and why she couldn't do it herself. Serrator. Xandred is the main baddie for Samurai, but arguably Serrator is the better leader. Yeah, he had ulterior motives, but who doesn't with villains? Xandred, while powerful, couldn't do anything himself. He sat there while everyone else did things. Serrator is able to leave, plan, and use his powers. Technically, everyone in Samurai has magic, but he knows how to wield it the best. From changing scale, giving plans to Octoro that work, the one who controls Decker and Dayu. This guy has almost limitless power. The only downfall was his ego. Serrator has the patience of a god, but when he screwed up that one time, Xandred took him down. I'd still pick Serrator over Xandred any day. He got things done and did things himself. Villain or hero, you gotta do the work. Shimazu. For a guy who was created for magic, he's pretty powerful. Honestly, probably the most powerful general Lothor has. Whipping up monsters on his own, being able to control them with whistles, bringing back old monsters, like what can't this guy do? The Rangers have their special powers, but this guy can create dimensions, manipulate the mind, drain powers. If it wasn't for Lothor having the Dark Pit as backup, I would argue Shimazu would be the leader. Even his look helps him. With Lothor, you can see he's mad or sad. Shimazu's face never changes, so it makes it harder for you to read what he's thinking, which helps even more when he fights you in armed combat. You don't see Lothor do that, even though he was trained in the past. He's given that up. Shimazu is an all-in-one. Lokar. I had wished more was done with Lokar. He was not really explained much, and it wasn't because PR censored him. For someone who's all-powerful, he just didn't get things to show that off much. However, that doesn't mean he wasn't powerful. He's a floating head that can shoot lightning, doesn't have a body to target, and can boost the power of any monster or evil Zord. He's almost a cheat code in that sense. Lokar can also affect the environment he's in, which can disrupt Megazord being powered by solar energy. He even can make a city turn to chaos, not only giant monsters, but the power to make the ground open up and suck down Zords. People, buildings, magic can be really scary. Look at all the stuff Rita did over the years. She moves buildings and stole one to put her palace on. Imperius. By far the best leader out of that season's musical chairs. Mordecon did nothing. The Master, nope, worse than Xandred, but Imperius, not only a great magic user, but also someone who betrayed the good side. That gave him a huge advantage. He's experienced with good magic. You understand the people and how that works. What buttons to push on them to screw up on top of his cunning. He basically does everything, can change his size at will, which could have helped and come in handy in a few episodes. Everyone was inferior to him. None of the main rangers could do anything because he knew all their abilities, which makes sense. Just because Nick is a fire element doesn't mean no one else can use fire. That's what makes Imperius and Daggeron better. If it wasn't for his problems towards Daggeron and with Korag looking over his shoulders, he would have taken over and gotten rid of the Master.
Olympus.
I don't like this character. He's a horrible diabolical replacement, plus his personality sucks. But you can't deny his power. That's the point of the character. He's the kid who got turned into a god even without the skills. What he does is ridiculous. And it kind of shows some flaws with Diabolical. He had the star power, so he should have done what Olympus did, but his reserved nature kept him back. That's the only favorable argument I can give Olympus. Olympus could summon portals that act as communication, instant teleportation. He's basically everything. Viper, Loki, they were useless when he was around. He almost didn't need Jinxer. If Olympus wasn't lazy, he probably could generate his own magic cards to create new monsters. The star power was incredible. I always wondered why it wasn't given to Queen Banshira, but I guess she was a special case, sealed away with the power of the solar system that was needed. None of the Zords worked. It took the Ranger's Life Force Megazord running off the human spirit to counteract his demon spirit. I wonder what the Rangers could do if they had the star power themselves. Lightspeed showed that humans and demons were very similar.
Jinxer.
Jinxer beating out so many other more powerful choices seems odd, but when it comes to magic, it's not just about power, but also style. While most other monsters have to engage and attack Rangers directly, Jinxer just creates cards and casts spells from afar with very little interaction. Throw a card into the void and out comes the monster, or it can act like a bomb. He may not seem powerful, but he caters to other aspects, creating monsters, growing monsters, watching how Olympus / Diabolical use the star power, with the only time him directly working in the field with the Life Force Megazord. That always bugged me when they were able to take over that Zord when it should have the best lockout of all the Zords. But then it got me thinking, who better to steal the Life Force Megazord than the one guy who makes magic? He can easily simulate the 5 Rangers' life energy to make it move, making him an unlimited battery. And if you count Go-Go 5, Pierre was the sole survivor coming back and giving the team one more insane mission. Don't ever underestimate the designers. They work in the background, but they can bite you in the back at your weakest point.
Rita.
I couldn't have a magic list without the Lady of Magic. It was a good happenstance that PR started from Jew Ranger for many reasons. Lots of people focus on Tommy, but first impressions matter. Mixing the high-tech and fantasy elements showed us what is allowed in the universe, basically anything. If we had gone with Zeo for the first season, it'd be harder to shift from a high concept to more fantasy. When you have it the other way, it's usually harder for people to accept it. A perfect example is Digimon Frontier. It's the season that made the kids into Digimon. The series always changes its themes and styles, but it lost the core concept of the partner Digimon. This alienated people too much and was the first time the series stalled. But if the franchise had started like this, it would have been seen like a Sentai series. If partner Digimon were added in a future season, people would have been like, cool. Adding most of the time is better than taking away. For the first season of MMPR, Rita gave us serious monsters like the Nasty Knight, going after Zack with that empowered cursed sword. Some of the weirdest monsters, Pudgy Pig and Eye Guy, ring that bell. Rita also took beloved items and turned them into monsters, a double kick in the face. Of course, with her magic, she was able to manipulate almost anything, from beautiful statues to crazy clowns, to turning the new guy in town into her Green Ranger.
Lothor.
Getting past that dumb exterior, Lothor was able to build up from nothing, trapped in that magic bubble, escaping, mastering the ninja's dark techniques, recruiting monsters and aliens to help him build his ship and empire, all because of his hatred toward his brother and him getting everything, right down to stealing Cam's Morpher just to pervert it into the power source for the Dark Pit. The backup plan of all backup plans. Lothor knows his monsters are weak, his generals dumb, but their deaths will feed the dark pit, bringing them back tenfold. The only man that beats Lothor in patience is Mesagog. Every which way he wanted to torment his brother, it worked. Turned him into a guinea pig, endangered his son, endangered his rangers, destroyed his school, and captured the students for who knows what. It was nearly the perfect plan. I would argue Lothor did succeed in destroying Sensei Konoi's life. Yes, everyone was rescued, plus the Ninja Academy came back. It still doesn't change the fact that everyone was scarred, Cam and the others got their power stolen, and Lothor was never killed in the end. Just sealed away with a chance coming back, laughing from the abyss. I don't have a favorite when it comes to the fantasy-based seasons or tech seasons. Both are good in their own right. However, magic opens the show up to more incredible things. The Rangers can wield special powers, the monsters can come from almost anything. You have to worry about being mind-controlled, going out of control with power, and be used to solve a lot of plot holes or complaints. That's their advantage. What other characters do you think should be a part of this list? New episodes Mondays, fan commentaries Wednesdays. Next week, the worst toy exclusive items made. If you like my content, consider leaving a like and subscribing. Due to fair use abuses from the various companies, I no longer feature footage from the various episodes. Thank you for understanding. See you in the next video.